What's up guys, Stuff93 here with a bit of a repair video for all of you. So what you are looking at is an HP Compaq Pro 6000, the small form factor version. Now basically the backstory behind this computer is that I received it for free, not really knowing any of its history. All I know is that when I received the computer it was pretty much gutted for the most part. The hard drive, optical drive, RAM, a few other cables and stuff had all been removed from the system. But I decided to try and start it up anyway. I installed some RAM, and basically all it will do is turn itself on and then shut itself back off and just keep boot looping over and over like that again. So I decided, since the power supply and things like that are all proprietary, I would start taking it apart, and I discovered a bit of something interesting as I was taking this machine apart, so I will show you that now. So now, opening this system up is a relatively simple task. You simply pull this lever and then you can lift the top piece right off. And what I discovered when taking a look at what CPU this had in it, because I figured I would be parting the machine out, is that when removing the heatsink, I did leave it unscrewed for the purpose of this video, just to save you guys time. But what I discovered after cleaning off the thermal compound, when I removed the CPU, is that the CPU currently installed in this, as you can see, is an Intel Pentium 4 630. Now this is a much older CPU than this computer. And although it is the same socket, this CPU is not compatible with the motherboard here. So what I have right here is a Intel Core 2 Duo, and this is the E8400. And this CPU will work with this computer, so I'll be installing this to check if this computer actually functions properly or not. So I have now cleaned off the top of this Core 2 Duo along with the bottom of the heatsink. So I will now line up the CPU like such and drop it into place. And now it is installed, so I can lower this down and put it in. So now we'll be installing a bit of thermal paste. I have this Antec stuff I'll be using just for this system because I don't feel like wasting my MX4 on these project machines that I don't even know whether or not they work. So I'll be putting just a tiny little drop of thermal paste right here in the middle. So I will now be installing the heatsink back onto the CPU. And I will now reinstall the plastic piece that directs airflow. Now to access the RAM, both of these lift up like such, so we've got the optical drive as well as the power supply, and they both lift up, which will help give us access to the RAM bays here. This machine accepts DDR3 RAM, and I have these. They're branded AMD, but they're made by Patriot, and they're just standard DDR3 RAM sticks. So I will be installing these into the system. Alright, so now the RAM and the CPU are both installed into the system. So I'll be putting the cover and all that back on, and then I will be plugging it in and we'll see what happens. So as you can see, I have a keyboard as well as a mouse plugged in, and I have it connected to the second monitor over here currently. So I'll turn the monitor on. Then we'll have to make sure, well, it should detect an input. So now I will be plugging in the HP computer like such. And I will find the power button. And we'll see what happens. So I'm hearing some sort of ticking sound, not getting any power to the peripherals. Let me pop open the case and see if we have anything happening inside. So as you can see, we have the same issues before where the fan and everything's just spinning up and down. So one thing I'm going to try to do is kill the power to the computer and then clear the CMOS out, because it did just have a new CPU and stuff installed, so we'll see what happens then. Alright, so I did clear the CMOS and we're going to try plugging it in again. Give it power and we'll see if we get anything happening on the monitor. It doesn't appear so. The power supply fan in the rear is doing the same thing as the CPU fan. So one thing to make note of is as this thing continues to boot loop, the front two indicators for the power and hard drive both just flash green once. I checked HP's diagnostic sheet with their different error codes, and this doesn't really specifically list it on there. So my indication is this is likely a board or a power supply issue or something along those lines. So I did ultimately try a variety of hardware combinations and stuff. I removed some different expansion cards and whatnot, and ultimately I've determined that it is likely a board issue or potentially something with the power supply. Either way, this machine, it's not worth it to put any money into, so it will be parted out, and that's that. It's ultimately a failed repair, but hope you enjoyed the video anyway, so make sure to hit that like button and have a great day. Peace out.